Bruh, you not hard. That's not your life. People that in that life would give anything to be in your life.
Great point.
For some reason, you got a $200 million contract, and you want people in the NBA to think you hood, to think you gangster.
Guys, I'm kind of in disbelief right now, and I think that as we get deeper into the video, you'll find out why. The NBA is quite literally a league where dreams can become a reality. I guess that sometimes, though, that reality can be too real and so fast that everything around you starts to feel fake. Professional athletes are given a massive amount of power and a lot of times told that they can do no wrong from the moment they enter into the league, and even in a lot of instances before that. There's just something about money and power that increases the amount of yes men around you and people who really want to take advantage of you altogether. Now, yes men or not, at some point you have to have some common sense and realize that doing stupid stuff just isn't it. As I said earlier, and as we all know, making the NBA is a life-changing accomplishment for yourself. And if you play your cards right, continue to work hard, and fall into the right situation, it can turn into much more than that for not only you, but your entire family and its future generations. Like Shannon said, there are people who are grinding right now, doing what they can, leaving it all on the line to be in the spot that Ja Morant earned. Which brings us to the question, why is Ja Morant risking everything and potentially throwing all of that hard work away? Well, we have to talk about that and the consequences of his actions, but first, today's content is sponsored by our friends over at PrizePicks. PrizePicks is not only the best way to play daily fantasy, but it's also the easiest way to play daily fantasy in states like California, Texas, Florida, Georgia, and more. The beauty of PrizePicks is that it's just you against the projections for a chance to possibly 25 times your money. For me, PrizePicks makes whatever game that I'm watching way more fun. And I mean, come on, what's more fun than having a chance to 25 times my money off of my own knowledge? As evidenced by my lineup that I'm playing right now, you guys can see that you do not have to spend a lot to win big. Guys, download the PrizePicks app by clicking the link in the description below. And also make sure that you use code COOP so you could get your first deposit instantly doubled. Let me start by saying this. I am 1000% rooting for Ja to better himself, and I know he's going to bounce back in a great way. We all make mistakes, and be it some worse than others, nobody is perfect. I don't want him to be purely identified by his mistakes in the future. A lot of times perception can paint a picture that others believe to be true. In Ja's case, nobody's been believing that stuff. They've been calling the picture that he's been painting BS for a while now, which really probably just made him want to get a bigger brush. For those who need a refresher, we've seen Ja be hard on social media on multiple different occasions. We've seen threats. We've seen weird and cryptic tweets. We've even seen him direct these tweets at fans and also go back and forth with other NBA players. Never in my life did I think that I would see another NBA player telling Draymond Green, "I'm coming to you then, tell him book that I'm on your block." I also never thought I'd see another NBA player telling Draymond on social media, "Nah, I'm in the M, bring him to the trenches." Yeah, honestly, these tweets aren't that bad. They're honestly incredibly mild compared to all of the other stuff that's been happening. When it comes to Ja Morant, we've unfortunately seen all kinds of allegations and reports, and let me tell you that some of them are really flat out shocking. Ja had an allegation last summer where a 17-year-old said that Morant and his friend punched him in the face repeatedly during a game of pickup hoops at his house. The teenager claims that when he was walking to his car, Morant came back outside with a gun tucked in his pants and had his hands on it. Now, Ja would claim that this was an act of self-defense, seeing as he was reportedly hit in the head by a hard pass that the team threw at him during the beginning of the incident. While Morant would admit that he swung first, he would also claim that in the end, the teenager would still be the aggressor, saying that the boy shouted, "I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna light this place up like fireworks." Weeks after this incident, Morant would file his own police report saying that the boy threatened his family. In the end, the police wouldn't press any charges, and him and his agent would continue to deny allegations while the teenager's family would file a suit. Get this, there was another allegation that occurred 4 days before the mishap with the teenager, where Ja's mom had a disagreement with a Finish Line employee at a local mall. Reportedly, Ja's mom prompted Ja to show up to the scene. Ja would show up, and he wouldn't show up by himself. He'd show up with a group of people, and to nobody's surprise, that group of people would be told to leave by the head of security, which would lead to a shove. As the group left, and I put heavy emphasis on this being a report, apparently Morant said, "Let me find out what time he gets off." Ja's agent would deny these claims, calling these reports unsubstantiated gossip. Guys, we're not even done with the allegations, as there would be another one. This one coming from members of the Pacers traveling party. They would claim that somebody in Ja's entourage shined a laser on them following a January game in Memphis, where T. Morant, Ja's father, and a close friend got into it with members of the Pacers. Apparently, Pacers staff and security would believe that that laser was coming from a gun. Reportedly, this made staff and security feel like they were in grave danger. Ja would go on again to call all of the allegations false. The NBA would end up investigating this event, and they would decide against any sort of discipline or punishment. So yeah, leading up to that infamous strip club IG Live that many have viewed as a breaking point with Ja, there was already a lot going on, which honestly, if you ask me, makes this entire situation that much worse. All Ja had to do was not do anything incredibly dumb, and yet here we are. Mind you that Ja had just became the face of Powerade, becoming its first ever athlete partnership in more than 5 years. When I first saw that IG Live from Ja, I saw it from freaking DJ Academics, and with all of this AI stuff going on, I kid you not, I thought the video was fake. And if it wasn't fake, I thought that maybe it was an old one that I missed, or maybe I was just delirious from being up too late. I was up pretty late pulling an all-nighter, working on content for you guys when that hit my feed, so you could imagine how I felt seeing that video at 7 to 8 a.m. in the morning. It just didn't feel real. Ja at a strip club with a gun was the absolute last thing that I was expecting to see. The more I think about it, I'm not really sure what Ja was aiming to accomplish with this IG Live. The only thing that makes sense to me is that he meant to go live from a burner account that only his friends have access to. He wouldn't be the first guy that went live from the wrong account, and he definitely wouldn't be the last if that was actually the case. Now, as expected, there have been people stepping out of place when it comes to this whole debacle, criticizing T as a father and saying that whatever he's doing isn't in Ja's best interest. Quote, T. Morant, Ja's dad, needs to look himself in the mirror, and I think he needs to really be honest with himself and say, is it more important for me to be a celebrity, or is it more important for me to be a supportive father? I think trying to do both is problematic. Guys, I don't know about you, but I have absolutely no idea what T is or isn't telling Ja. Guys, how much is T trying to be a celebrity, and how much is it the media just shoving cameras into his face? On top of everything, I bet that Ja doesn't want people targeting his dad because of his mistakes, because they are his mistakes. Ja's a grown man. This isn't the kid that we're talking about here. What's that old saying that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink? Again, we don't know everything that people have been doing to try to help out Ja. Apparently, before this debacle even happened, Steven Adams held the players-only meeting saying that the team needed to show better discipline when they're on the road and how they need to stay away from going out. To quote Shams, when Steven Adams spoke out, they knew exactly who he was directing that statement to, none other than Ja Morant. This is really interesting to me because everybody always talks about how the Grizzlies need more vets or better vets, and I guess while you can argue that they need more, Steven Adams of all people was right there, noticed the pattern, decided to step in, and it just didn't matter. I guess you could argue that maybe Adams isn't the right messenger, but my question to you guys would be that if he's not, then who is? Since the video of the live dropped, as you could imagine, things have gotten progressively worse for Ja, with them, in my opinion at least, reaching a new low. Shortly after the incident, the Grizzlies would announce that they would be suspending Ja Morant for 2 games. This incident would also lead to Ja Morant coming out and releasing a statement addressing what went down. To quote Ja Morant, "I take full responsibility for my actions that night. I'm sorry to my family, teammates, coaches, fans, partners, the city of Memphis, and the entire Grizzlies organization for letting you down. I'm going to take some time away to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being." Ja would go on to delete his social media, and meanwhile, Nike would go on to back Ja, saying that we appreciate Ja's accountability and that he's taking the time to get the help that he needs. We support his prioritization of well-being. Naturally, Nike wouldn't be the only entity supporting Ja's well-being at this time. Remember that 2-game suspension that I told you guys about earlier? Well, Grizzlies coach Taylor Jenkins would come out and announce that there's currently no timetable for Ja's return, saying that he doesn't want to go into specifics, but the most important thing is that Ja is seeking help. He would call everything an ongoing healing process. Oh yeah, and that leave that was just 2 games, that would go on to get 4 additional games added to it, with there still being no knowledge of when Ja could possibly return. Now, as bad as we want to see Ja Morant back on the basketball floor throwing down dunks that defy the laws of physics, it is pretty awesome that the Grizzlies are prioritizing his well-being over that. Because again, as we all know, there are things that are more important than basketball. Now, with that being said, I really wouldn't mind seeing Ja miss some time because it's really clear that he was going down a very dangerous path. I'm not saying that the Grizzlies have to give him the harshest punishment in the world, but at the end of the day, he does have to understand that what he was doing was not okay. Because if even half of those allegations are true, then maybe he really was on his way out of the league. Now, remember when I said earlier that things were getting really ugly for Ja? Well, if you're Ja, the last thing you want to hear is that the NBA and also the Colorado police are conducting their own investigations. According to Ramona Shelburne and Liz Merrill over at ESPN, though Colorado is an open carry state, there are exceptions to the law, including the carrying of a firearm on federal property. In Colorado, it is also illegal to possess a firearm while under the influence of alcohol. In the IG Live from Morant, though you can't tell if he's drunk or not, there are others in the video who are drinking. Now, fortunately for Ja, although the video was concerning enough to prompt an investigation, there was not enough evidence to charge anybody with the crime. Though there wouldn't be enough evidence to charge anybody with the crime, this would not completely get the NBA off of Ja's back. According to Mark Stein, the CBA says that if there's a firearm on team premises, then you're basically at the mercy of the commissioner. Which I guess you could say that he already was anyways. If you're Ja, you don't want to be the guy that Adam Silver makes an example of. People have been labeling Adam Silver soft for a while now. You don't want to be the one that he comes out and unleashes his inner David Stern on. Shams is out here saying that there could be an extended absence with more stringent penalties coming from the league, and I believe him. He also said the police, but as we just went over, as of right now, Ja's in the clear. I don't know, guys. Things could get pretty spooky for Ja. Again, I'm rooting for the guy, but there is a lot going on. Let me know what you guys think of everything down in the comments below. Clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm GetLikeCoop, bringing you guys the scoop until our next upload.